this is Val Hart, the real Dr. Doolittle, and today I'm here with one of my favorite guests, Tim Link. Tim is fabulous. You're going to have so much fun with us today. Please stay with us. Let me tell you what we're talking about. We are discussing how communicating with animals and with pets more effectively helps improve behavior and form a deeper bond with the animals in your life. So to let you know what we're doing here, I'm Val Hart, the real Dr. Doolittle, animal communicator to the stars, author, etc. I'm also the host of the Animal Talk Coaching Club, and this is a series of interviews with my professional colleagues because we want to bring you into our world so that you see what we see, know what we know, hear what we hear when we communicate and work with animals. My goal and my mission, my vision, is to reach and teach 1 million animal lovers around the world how to better understand and communicate with your own animals so that you can improve your relationships and you can recognize and respect and revere animals for who they truly are as the angels and teachers and guides and healers, here to help you become the best version of yourself possible. So thank you for loving animals, and let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? So let me introduce Tim first so you know what an honor it is to have him with us. So Tim Link is an expert in the field of animal communication, one of my favorite colleagues. He's a Reiki energy master he does healing work with animals. As part of Tim's animal consulting business, he's worked with people around the world who have missing animals. So he's most probably well known maybe for his work with lost and missing animals. He's had a great deal of success in reuniting lost animals with their families. And of course, while no one can guarantee that a lost animal will be reunited, implementing particular steps will increase your chances of being reunited. So that's a big part of what he does. He's also the author of a brand new book, and one of my favorites, Wagging Tails, Every Animal Has a Tail. And he's just released a second wonderful book, Talking with Dogs and Cats. He's a regular contributor for Dogster and Catster online magazines, regular contributing writer for Victoria Stilwell's Positively Expert blog. He's the host of Animal Rights Show on iHeartRadio, a guest on many television shows, Fox and Friends, the morning shows with Mike and Juliet, Better Mornings Atlanta, Good Day Atlanta, Good Day Columbus, Good Morning Texas. Boy, Tim, you get around. San Diego, Colorado, Arizona, Tennessee. You've even been featured in People's Magazine, People's Pets. So you can find out more about his work on his website, wagging-tails.com. And Tim, welcome.
Oh, thanks, Val. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it so much. It's always wonderful talking to you and getting the message out about the animals.
It is. There's so much to say. I mean, we could be here for days.
Yes, we could. So everybody get comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you brought your tea and Vicky, and we will settle back and have a chat. So to get us started, I know communicating with pets to improve behavior and form a deeper bond. That's why a lot of people contact me, and I know you too, and you wrote a book to help people with knowing how to better communicate to solve problems and work with training and performance and all that stuff. You got some wonderful things we're going to talk about. So what are the 3 key steps of communicating more effectively with your dogs and cats?
Well, I tell people that, obviously we talk to our animals all the time. I think most of us do that instinctually, but are we doing it in the correct and most positive manner? And what I mean by that is being very specific about what we're saying to our animals and how we're addressing them. But the key things in communicating with the animals is they understand the words that we're saying. So please go ahead and continue on verbally communicating with them, letting them know what the situations are by using your vocal words, because they do pick up on those words. And of course, we understand that from our training techniques. When we start to teach them dogs how to sit, stay, lay, quit, leave it, all the wonderful commands that we have to learn for training, what I'm asking you to do is actually have a conversation with them and verbally out loud have a communication with your animals. So the first part is talking to them out loud. A second part is send a strong visual message. Send your visual picture of what you're talking about to your animals so they can pick up on that and they can tune in on it. So whether we know it or not, every time we say a word or a series of words, we're sending usually a unconscious or a subconscious message, a visualization of the words that we're trying to say. And so the more purposeful we are with the visualization that we're sending out there, the better they pick up on it. So make sure that when you're communicating with them, you're also visualizing what you're wanting from them or what the situation is and why it's going to be a good thing for them. And of course, most of all, stay positive. Get yourself in that positive energy space. And typically when we say words out loud and we've sent a strong visual message, we feel confident and feel pretty guaranteed that our animals are going to understand what we're talking about. And it naturally raises our energy up to that higher energy level into a positive state. And at that point, our animals always respond to positive energy. So by doing those three things, communicating verbally, visually, and in a positive energy state, you're going to get your best results in being able to connect with your animals and having them understand you, and then in turn better understand them and bond with them as well.
I love that. I really love that. It reminded me of a little quick story. My first horse I had as an adult, Glow, was an appendix racehorse, a quarter horse thoroughbred combination called an appendix. I took her off the track and I started retraining her. I had her with a trainer, and I had only ridden her like maybe twice. And here I am, adult, not a very good rider at that point. Riding a racehorse. And we were stabled at a really nice stable that was also a show stable. So they had dressage arenas. They also had a jumping arena, with the jumps and stuff.
Right.
And so I went out there one day and I was palling around with my best friend, my horse Glow, and I thought, I want to ride her around in the show jumping arena. We've never jumped before. I don't think she's ever jumped before, and we're going to ride patterns and we're going to go around and do our thing, right? And I'm thinking that's pretty ambitious. I'm feeling like, woo, are you sure you want to do that? So, but I had a conversation with Glow before we went, and I told her, I said, here's what I want to do. I want us to partner up, and when I give you signals, like when I send my energy forward, I want you to go a little faster. And when I look in a direction, I want you to follow that and go that direction. And when I settle my energy back, I want you to stop. And remember, this is a mare that doesn't have any of these cues and signals.
Right.
Yeah. She's just had a little jockey perched on her back like a monkey. And you go fast as you can, and they pull in your mouth a lot, and that's kind of it. So, and you get a crop, and you get bit with a crop. So, but I'm like, wow. So we're going to go out here, and I image it in your mind really clear. And I felt the joy of it that was just like all encompassing, is so powerful. I could feel the beauty of it, the incredible merging, of her and me being one, playing this game together. And I told her the story, so I talked it out, I imaged it, I felt what needed to be felt, what I wanted her to receive about my story. And then I got on her and we went out there, and I have to tell you, it was the most magical ride I have ever had. We were so in sync. I had almost very little contact with the reins. Just very light. I wasn't giving her any outward cues. It was all internal, all energy, and she did brilliantly well. We were trotting and cantering and doing patterns and complicated, things all through the arena. There was new stuff to see and stuff, but she was as solid and steady as a rock. It was awesome. So there's so much that you can do once you know how to share these stories, like Tim is telling you. So I hope you try it. So,
yeah, absolutely. And the key thing is, once you become cognizant of what you're doing and how you're saying it, being very specific by telling them what the situation is, what they need to do, and why is this going to be a good thing for them. You send that strong visual message out, and then you feel positive about it. It really becomes second nature. That's how you start to communicate with them on an everyday basis. It's similar to how we talk to our children or talk to people. We're very specific, and they better understand where we're coming from. And so it's fun. It's fun to see it happen too. So it's you can learn a lot. You can do it what I feel is the best way to be able to connect with your animals, and you have a lot of fun with it too. So what else can you ask for?
Well, I love that you said it about communicating with like your children or your family or friends or stuff. When you do your communications with the human people in your life, it makes a really big difference for them too. It's like everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I reflect back on it when we're talking to children, young children, and we're telling them, Timmy, I understand you like running through the house with scissors. But but I'm afraid you're going to get hurt. So what I need from you is to lay the scissors down before you go running through the house, because this is going to keep you safe and make me very happy. So when you set little Timmy down, you explain that very specifically, what it is, what he needs to do, and why is it a good thing for him. He's going to get it, and he's going to set the scissors down, then he'll take off running. Now, you may have to reemphasize that a few more times before Timmy finally gets the full message and understanding of it, because, they're their own personalities, and, sometimes they're short-term memory, but they do pick up on that. And it's the same thing with our animals. Our animals know much more than we do. They understand much more than we allow ourselves to understand. So when we're very specific with them and we send out that strong visualization and positive energy, they're going to respond and usually pick it up right away.
I love that. that. Okay, so you talk about the orange ball test. Tell us what the orange ball test is.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a wonderful test. I tell people you can't get away without having a test. Every time I go to a speaking event, I spoke at a library last night, and it was the same thing. We're going to test you. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm out of school. I don't get tested anymore. But the orange ball test is very straightforward, and it's a great way to see what I'm talking about and feel what I'm talking about and get the message. So here's the orange ball test. I'm going to say the word orange ball. Orange ball. Now, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. 1, did you hear me say the word orange ball?
Yes.
Good. So that's the first thing. You heard orange ball. Because sometimes, my Midwestern upbringing and my Southern accent from being in the South for so long blend together, and I've heard them say, oh, I thought you said bowl or bulb. So I try to be very specific.
Okay, so orange ball.
Orange ball. So you heard the words orange ball. So that's good. Now, the second thing is, when I said the word orange ball, what did you see?
A ball that was orange?
A ball that was orange. And for some people, since I wasn't cognizantly sending a strong mental picture, I really just said the word orange ball and didn't consciously project what kind of orange ball it was. Perhaps you saw an orange ball, but maybe your orange ball was smaller than the one that the person next to you saw. I had people that see orange the fruit. Someone last night at a speaking event saw the sun, the orange of a sun. Someone saw the word orange spelled out, O-R-A-N-G-E. So I wasn't specific in the mental picture that I'm sending out, but you did hear the words and you did pick up a mental imagery. So if I were to go back and send out a stronger picture of what kind of ball I was talking about and what kind of design was the ball, you would pick up on that. Now, the key thing here is you heard the words, you saw the visual. How'd you feel afterwards? Did you feel good for passing the test?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You did. And that's the same thing when we're talking to our animals. When we say the words, they understand the words that we're saying. And the more purposeful we are with that mental image that we're transmitting out there, making it more conscious instead of subconscious, the better they're in tune with it. And then when we accomplish something and they understand us and they do what we need them to do, our energy goes up that higher plateau. It goes up that positive level. So the orange ball test works in everyday life. When you're talking and you're sending strong mental picture imagery out there, you feel better because, it's like you've talked about it. Talk about it. You'll feel better. Get it off your chest. Well, that's all terminology of, opening up those chakras in your trust and you're knowing your center of your solar plexus, that you're saying the things you need to say. You're sending a strong mental picture, so they understand it. So you feel good, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's the orange ball test. So try it out and see how it works, and try it out definitely with your animals, and you're going to get some real positive results.
I really like that. And I love that you pointed out, if you had gotten clearer about exactly the kind of orange ball you were seeing or wanted to project, then a huge percentage of people and animals would have received that. So if you were picturing a small, hard orange golf ball or orange basketball or something like that, that's what they would have gotten. And I know in my beginning workshop, and maybe in yours too, my beginning course, we share energy, we send concepts, we send stuff like that to each other, heart to heart, mind to mind, and then we get feedback, and it's extraordinary. People get such amazing detail and specifics about what you're sending. So it's really possible. It's totally possible. It's doable. We have ample proof, and your animals get it too when you're clear and when you've got yourself in alignment. So good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So enjoy that. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So what here I am. What should you always tell your dogs and cats before you leave the house?
Yes. So when I talk about how you speak with animals, and I'm talking about that verbal communication, that visual imagery, and that positive energy level, you may have heard me talk about explain to them very specifically what the situation is, what they need to do, and why is it going to be a good thing. And that should be part of your normal routine.
Right.
Now, when leaving the house, we know a lot of animals have separation anxiety, or they just want to know, heck, where are you going when you're going to be back? You going to get my kibble ready? Are you going to be back in time for that? That's all I care about. Are you back at 5 p.m. for my kibble time? That's all you need to know.
Who's
But
trained who, right? Who's
yeah,
trained?
exactly. You can stay gone as long as you want, as long as you're back to get my food on the table. But the key thing is when you leave the house, they do have a lot of questions. And it's just like anyone else in your household. You want to know what the situation is and what the impact of their human companion is going to be. So what I always suggest is when you leave the house, you let them know where you're going. And you send that visual picture out of where you're going, when you'll be back, and don't be afraid to give them specific times a day, hours, whatever it may be. And most importantly, give them a job to do. What are they to do while you're gone? And make it super duper easy. So an example of that is, Fluffy, mommy's going to go to work. I'm going to be home at 6 p.m. And you see the clock moving forward to 6 p.m. Okay. Or if you're going to be gone on vacation, you're going to be gone for 3 days. You see a calendar in your mindset, seeing it crossed off 3 times. Okay. They'll get the mental picture. If you're going to be gone overnight, you see the sun going down, the sun coming and going to dark, and then the sun coming back up again. So send that strong mental picture. And then what are they to do while they're gone? And make it super easy, like lay down and take a long nap. Keep our favorite blanket warm. Chew on your toys, play with your, toys, eat your treats. Stay away from high, pressure words like, look out the window and watch the squirrels, or guard the house. That's the biggest one. Guard the house. Play nice with your siblings, the other furry mates in the household. But make it nice and easy for them so they don't have to think about it, because they want to do, they love their jobs and they want to do everything they can to please us. And if we tell them to guard the house, believe it or not, though they may sit down for a while, they're going to jump up and down. They're going to look around every time there's a noise, every time there's an activity going on. So we want a peaceful situation. So where you're going, when you'll be back, and what are they to do while you're gone? And you get that in your routine, like it's, like brushing your teeth, or combing your hair. I use it all the time. If I go to the mailbox at the end of the driveway, I'll tell my dogs, I'll say, now, pups, Dad's going to go to the end of the driveway and get the mailbox. I'd like for you to watch me at the window, because I know you love doing that, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Then when I get back, give me some loves and kisses, because this will make me happy. And sure enough, I'll walk out the garage door to get to the driveway, to get to the mailbox. They'll go to the front window and watch me. And of course, when I come back, as always, they greet me with love and hugs and kisses, like I've never been, like I've been gone away for years and years and years. So it's nice and easy. It's something they enjoy doing, and something that's easy, and I enjoy it as well. But it's part of that routine everywhere you're going. It just becomes part of that second nature. And I tell people all the time, if you have spouses or partners or children or whatever in your household dynamic as humans, you naturally do this in some degree. I would hazard to think that you're not going to leave your house without telling them where you're going, what are they, when you'll be back, and what are they to do while you're gone. Get the kids busy cleaning the room, or get the husband off the couch to mow the lawn. Got to give them some jobs. Maybe those are too hard of jobs. I don't know. But, you always do that naturally as humans when you have a household dynamic. So why not do it with your animals? Because they're going to be in tune with it as well.
Yeah, I really, really love that. Yeah, I actually got started communicating with animals, with our cats, for a really similar situation, because my husband and I used to go like on a weekend trip or 3-day or 4-day vacation or something like that. And every time we would come back, our 2 cats would be frantic. One of them, as soon as she could get back outside, she wouldn't come home for a day or 2. The other one would be angry and hold a grudge for weeks. I heard about this somewhere, and I thought, the next time we take a trip, I'm going to try it. So I sat down with Tuffy Tiger and Peach, and I told them, I said, this time, he and I are going to go. I'm imaging us, packing and driving, and we're happy. We're going to this place. We're going to see these people and do these things. And that night, and the next day, and that night, and the next day, and that night, and then we're headed home, and we should be home around 5. o'clock on Sunday. We're so excited to see you when we get home. And I want you to, take care of each other and eat and sleep. And the neighbor's going to come feed you and check on you. If you have a problem, tell her. And we're, and we will be back. And so that very next trip, we left. When we got back, the cats were sleeping, napping. Peach woke up and looked at us and yawned, oh, and then kind of looked at her wristwatch, and said, oh, yeah, look, it's 5 o'clock. Oh, you're back.
Exactly.
And Tuffy was like, hi, Mom, hi, Dad, can I go outside? And she came right back in about 10 minutes because she wanted to hear about the trip, So it was like night and day. It was a huge, huge shift. And it just was so exciting. So anyone who's listening, try it with your animals. It will make a huge difference for you.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of fun too. So
yeah. And something else you said, Tim, it's about if you leave the house and give your animal a high pressure kind of a job, like guard the house, I'm wondering if that would actually foster them in being hyper alert or super vigilant, or bark a lot, or if maybe even contributes to like something like separation anxiety.
yeah, absolutely. Animals, we assign certain jobs for our animals to do. It's kind of a natural thing that we assign to them, and they love their jobs. So it's good that you're assigning jobs to them. And then there are certain jobs they take upon themselves. And a lot of times that is the sort of guardian of the house, looking out the window, seeing who's in the drive, a little bit more intense, and they assign those to themselves. So if they're in a situation where they're assigning that type of job and you haven't told them that, it's okay, just relax while I'm gone, they're going to be hyper vigilant, and they're going to be stressed out. And then when you do come home, they're liable to have caused some accidents in the house, or caused tore up some things, or at the very least, they're going to be very anxious when you get home, and it's going to take them a long time to really calm down. So communicate with them where you're going, when you'll be back, and what are they to do, and you're going to see that calmness, and it's going to be a lot less pressure on them while you're gone.
Right. I love that you brought that out. So let's talk about separation anxiety. So tell us, how do you work with that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So plug. We can get a tune in.
Dogs and cats. Yay, Tim, your new book.
So that's a new book. So Talking with Dogs and Cats. And in the book in general talks about, the first part of the book talks about sort of animal communication 101 at a very basic level. And some of the things we've been talking about here today, using the communication, using the visualization to bond and help them understand, and for you to understand them better. So very basic level, so you can start implementing it. Anybody can start implementing it today. The latter part of the book deals with, what are the top, say, 30 things that we all deal with if we have dogs and cats in our life. You're going to run into these things like, why is Fluffy stop using the litter box, and why does the dog always bark when the doorbell rings, or how do I introduce a new animal or a new person into the household? And perhaps, especially for dogs, one of the biggest things I'm called on is the separation anxiety. The stress that goes on behind that not knowing when you're coming back, or what are they to do while you're gone. You're disrupting their routine, especially when you're going on vacations, and totally messing up the routine. You've got a pet sitter coming over, or maybe you have a neighbor coming by and checking out the dogs and the cats. So it goes back to, once again, you're communicating with them and letting them know what the situation, or where you're going, when you'll be back, and what they're to do while you're gone. But also put some simple things together that are sort of what I call more training techniques. Do the things that they like to do, and get them set up perfectly before you leave the house. So if your animal is afraid of thunderstorms, or loud music, or noises outside that they don't understand, then put a thunder shirt on them, or take one of your tightly knitted shirts and with your scent on it, and put it on them before you go. Put on a little table fan for some light white noise in the background, and maybe even point it towards them if they're in a crate, or in a particular area they like to lay, so they can feel a little bit more cooler. Find their favorite radio station. That's a key. And try to stay away from radio station that has a lot of talk, because they may be confused about where the voices are coming from. But find their favorite music. And their favorite music may not be your music. Yes. I have a client that has a home in Houston, and then drives up to their older house in San Antonio. and she's got a cat that is just terrible with riding, doesn't understand why they have to go up there, doesn't like the long drive, and just gets out of sorts. So the whole trip up there, it's meow, 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 the whole way up.
Yeah.
So she was asking me what to do, and I gave her some tips and some advice. And in the book, Talking with Dogs and Cats, I talk a little bit about traveling with animals. And one of the key things I said is find a radio station that she likes. And so she thought, okay, well, I'm willing to give anything a try. So she flipped on some classical music, thinking that's the most calming music I could possibly find. That will work. Well, she didn't bother changing the channels, and the whole trip up there was meow, 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 meow. So she contacted me again and said, well, Tim, the music thing sounded great, but it didn't work. And I said, okay, well, what happened? She said, well, I put on some nice classical music, and, the whole trip, she was just meowing the whole way. So, okay. I said, did you change the channel to try to find one that she did like? She goes, no, I didn't. So the next trip, she changed the channel until she found something that was like a 50 jazz music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Type thing. Something she would never listen to.
Yeah.
But as soon as she turned it on, voila, cat never made another peep the whole way.
Wow, that's awesome. A jazz-loving cat. That's
yeah, exactly. It's your cat.
Oh, wow.
And that's the key. When we're talking about leaving the house, there's some things you want to do, to ease that separation anxiety, both verbally and visually, that you want to communicate with them, but also set them up for success. Give them things that give them comfort. They have a favorite toy, put that in the area. Do the things that will make them comfortable while you're gone. And so the combination of two will start to ease that separation anxiety. And I think for the human companion, the biggest thing that you can do is trust what you're sending out there. Trust the words that you're saying, trust the visualization you submitted out there, and the positive energy that goes along with it. Because when we start to let self-doubt creep in, our animals are never going to let us down. So if we worry about what we're going to come back to, or how Spot did while you were gone, I'm worried that something happened. Well, worried's a negative energy word.
Yeah.
And so, put that in. I always tell people to put their worries in a jar and treat it like dollar bills. So if you are not, I'm not a financial planner, but I'll give you some financial advice for your retirement portfolio. I want you to put a little ball jar, ball or mason jar. I went to Ball State University, so it's got to be, one of the ball jars that, you for canning, or for us folks, Southern folks, moonshine, you put it there. But put your little ball jar in the middle of the room. And every time you use a negative energy word or submit some negative energy, I want you to put $1 in there. And this is true, especially when you're talking to your animals. So if you use words like no, not, don't, stop, stay, quit, or you yell, or you scream, or you worry, or you doubt, all these things are bringing on negative energy. So every time you do that, put $1 in the tip jar, and pretty soon you'll be off on Hawaii on that retirement program. It's going to work great for you.
Well, that's a good positive use of negativity.
There you go. That's right. There's always something positive, even when it's negative.
I love that. I love that idea. I think it would help us be more aware of what we're sending, because like you said, a lot of bad behavior, that's what they think we want, because that's what we keep focusing on.
Absolutely.
Don't get on the couch. What they hear is on the couch.
On the couch. Yeah. They're great. Yeah.
What's the big deal?
That's right.
Okay. So what should you do if your cat stops using the litter box? That was a favorite one. Yeah,
that's a number one on the list, I think, of what I get called about. And, there's three things that go on. So if an animal stops using the litter box, if cats stop using the litter box, it's either going to be a physical, a mental, or an emotional thing that they're going through. So obviously, take a look around, see if there's any signs of any physical distress within your animal, any physical dis-ease within your animal, and by all means, take them to a veterinarian. You can obviously contact an animal communicator to connect with your animal ahead of time, to give them a little bit more guidance, and maybe try to do an energy scan and narrow down the area. So when you do go to the veterinarian, you have a better idea of what possibly, or at least the general area of where the distress is coming from. But if it's not a physical thing that's going on, then we have to take a look back and say, okay, is this a mental or an emotional thing that's going on? So, and this all has to do with stress levels and things going on not only within your animal, but within you and your household. So I'm always telling people that if there is a change in behavior within your animal, take a deep breath, look within yourself, look around the household, see if there's a disruption going on. And more times than not, it's a distress that's going on either within you, their human companion, or the household. So maybe you have some dis-ease within your body. Maybe you have some ailments that are going on. Maybe you just had a stressful day at work. But also exterior things impact them too, like people that move into the house without being greeted properly or announced why they're there and when they're going to be gone, or if they're staying. People leaving the house, so children are going off to college before too long here, and so when a child leaves for the first time to go to college, your animals are going to have some distress if you're not talking to them ahead of time about it. So it can be anything that's changed their routine or disrupt their environment, and you have to try to identify that ahead of time, communicate with your animals, so when the time comes, it's not a big deal. But if you can't, and you forgot to do that, then look within yourself, look around the household, see where the changes are going on, and you're going to find out for the most part it's either something that I have to say that you're causing, whether it's direct or indirect, or it's something that's going on in the household. And with a quick explanation, a quick visualization of what the situation is, and feeling good about it, it will help improve or solve those situations.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that out, because that's that human animal body mind connection. It's when they act out or mirror for us. And I know with cats, they're very sensitive to psychic energy, emotional attack, emotional imbalances.
Yeah.
And they will reflect it and act it out and try to draw your attention to it until things are in a more balanced state. So they're trying to serve us.
Yeah, well, one other animal out there, I can think maybe other than a rabbit and other than a cat, maybe a rabbit, but there's no other animal out there where you can put a plastic bin in the middle of the floor and throw some sand in it, and they know exactly what to do with it.
Yeah, what is that? How did they know that?
They know that. They know exactly what to do. But they also know, with their independent nature that they have, and sometimes we don't spend nearly as much time with our cats as we should, socializing, being part of them, taking their energy, their love, doing the things that we should do with our dogs or any other animal. So they do tend to become independent in a lot of cases. So they've got to get our attention. So they may have some dis-ease within their body, some challenges going on, and we just don't slow down enough to recognize it. So they finally have to say, okay, I'm going to make her recognize it. I'm going to wake him up to the situation. I'm just going to miss my litter box. And if he does, if he doesn't get the hint, I'm going to miss it in a place that he prefers.
Yeah, like so, your bed and your pillow.
Yeah, your bed, your carpet, in the hallway when you go up to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Those lovely places.
Yeah, that big poo right in the middle of the floor. Yeah, that's
exactly.
A little hard to miss it. Oh my God. All right, so what do you want people to leave here with? What do you want people to remember?
Yeah, I think the key thing is that animals are a huge part of our lives. They're our heart connection. They're as important as any other member of our household. They come into our lives for a reason and for a purpose, and we have to recognize that reason and purpose and try to fulfill their reason and purpose for being here. Live in the moment, live in the present moment. Don't worry about your past. Don't worry about your future. Live, a dog's life, as they call it. And the key thing behind that is if you treat them in that fashion, you're going to be able to communicate with them better and bond with them in a better manner. So you should be communicating with them just like any other animal in your household, and continuing to look for ways to improve their lives, but allowing them to improve your lives as well, and continue to build that bond. And I think at that point, you're going to have even a greater understanding, a greater appreciation and respect for your animals. And guess what? Your life with them is going to be even grander than you ever expected.
I love that. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom and your joy of animals with us.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So check out Tim's fabulous book. Hold it up again, Tim.
There it is. Talking with Dogs and Cats, available in all major bookstores, independent bookstores, online bookstores. It's available nationwide. Has a little doggy. And for your cat lovers, it has, get up there, Tim. There it is. Oh, cat loving knows this. Isn't that great? So it's a great book, and we love it. The foreword was written by my good friend and colleague, Victoria Stillwell, from It's Me or the Dog. It's also chock full of all kinds of other endorsements from wonderful pet experts and writers and people out there. So it's a good book, suitable for all ages, and it's something that will teach you a little bit more about how to connect and bond with your animals, and at the same time, keep it on your shelf, because you never know when that cat's going to stop using the litter box, and you may have to pull it down and find out what's all about.
I love it. All right. Thanks, Jim. Thank you so much. All right. So You've been watching another episode of The Real Dr. Doolittle Show with my fabulous guest, Tim Link of wagging-tails.com. Be sure and pick up your Quick Start to Animal Talk course on the animaltalkcoachingclub.com website. And until next time, love your animals like yourself, or maybe better. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Bye. Next time.